Good morning. It is actually afternoon here at White Pine Studios in Hilltop location in the scenic Upper Valley region of New Hampshire. But I'm using the Chogyam Trungpa Rinpoche convention. If you recall, Trungpa Rinpoche is this gentleman in the picture in the yellow robe on the wall behind me. Tiny, I know, in this video, but anyway, there he is. And I'm using this, his tendency to open talks with good morning, regardless of the time of day, because basically it was a reference to waking up and the opportunity to awaken spiritually. So all of my previous video clips were done prior to the actual formation of the Opening to Utter Totality YouTube group, which is why this channel, as you may recall, why I founded this channel is to support a YouTube group, which tentatively is scheduled to launch in October of this year, 2023. So heretofore, these video clips were designed to help people who were considering whether they might want to apply to participate in the group, to help them to make that decision. Well, this one is a little different in that the application window has closed as of yesterday, and the initial, what I'm calling the pilot group of Opening to Utter Totality, has already been selected, assuming that the cohort of participants that have been selected can participate. So waiting to work that out and finalize the schedule. But that's neither here nor there. The point is that this clip is therefore not designed to help people understand what the group is intended to be about, because they're already past that point. And now it's intended as a source of occasional support for people in the group. So what I'm assuming I'll do, although this is subject to change and inspiration and spontaneity and what have you. I'm figuring it out as I go along, to be honest, and so I may do different things with this as I go along. But for now, I thought occasionally I'd put a topic together, talk together on a topic for the group. And so this is the first in what we might call the post-formation series, rather than the solicitation recruitment phase series. So the group is going to study and practice the precious treasury Dzogchen teachings of Longchen Rabjam or Longchenpa. And so I just got a warning, so I have to pause this if you excuse me for a moment and attend to this on my computer, and then I will pick up again. Okay, sorry for the interruption. As I was saying, the group's going to study the precious treasury teachings of Longchen Rabjam, beginning, if I can get it to focus here, with the precious treasury of the way of abiding. And the precious treasury of the way of abiding is the title of the source verses. And these treasuries, at least the two main ones that we're going to focus on, have source verses in verse, and then a lengthy commentary on the source verses by Longchenpa, which includes the stances of the source verses bracketed by a lot of other material, commentary and quotes from various other sources and so on. So we're going to take up initially the precious treasury of the way of abiding, starting in October. Now, we're going to walk quite deliberately through the material and attempt to immerse ourselves in it. So I'm not going to go through the material in videos like this. There's no point in it, and my role with this group, as I've mentioned in other videos, is that a facilitator rather than a Dharma teacher who would have the responsibility for presenting the topic. The teacher in this case is Longchenpa, and the presentation comes to us in the form of the precious treasury text that we're studying. So, therefore, to summarize, I'm not, the group's going to walk through these texts. So there's no point in putting video clips together for vanity purposes or perhaps delusional purposes. To hear myself talk about materials when the group is going to hear Longchenpa speak and hear each other speak about our experience of the text. So therefore, I'm not going to do that. Instead, I'm going to take up what I hope will be sort of supportive topics. And today I've titled this clip Consciousness and Awareness, because in my own immersion in the Longchenpa Precious Treasury materials, I've been, I suppose if I want to make it fancy, I could say I've been contemplating, but it's a lot like I've been thinking about consciousness and awareness. So I should start off by defining the terms, because the definitions are important. And the way that I'm using the terms, and I'm sure there are variant ways that other people have used them. But I'm using consciousness to refer to basically the entire scope of what people, I would say, generally would consider uh, our human mind, which is to say, our intellect, our sense impressions, our emotions, and so on. All that is in the sphere of consciousness, use of language, um, coming to intellectual understanding, analysis, and so on. It's all consciousness. Now, awakened awareness, provocatively, is said to uh, I'm going to use the word reside, but I don't really like the term reside, but it's the best I can do at the moment. So awareness, awakened awareness, let's just say it is beyond ordinary consciousness in the sense that what the Buddhist teachings tell us over and over again in various ways is that we can't understand awakened awareness, or what is sometimes called our true nature, what is sometimes called enlightenment, which is what is sometimes called the Vajra heart essence, what is often made analogous to space, particularly in its vastness. Um, we can't understand awakened awareness with our conscious mind because it's simply beyond the capabilities of our consciousness. Not that our consciousness is defective, therefore, consciousness serves its own purpose and has its own particular functions. And I, I doubt that we would be able to get along very well in life without consciousness. So, I'm not denigrating consciousness in any way, but I am pointing out that spiritual teachings say that it only goes so far. There's a limit to it. And awakened awareness, which we can experience, it's not some sort of unsolvable riddle or massive tease, but we are capable of experiencing it, but that happens in a sphere or in a range that's beyond our conventional consciousness. On the other hand, I think it's fair to say that we would not have any interest in accessing awakened awareness, understanding or experiencing it, if there weren't some form of introduction to it or to this possibility within our conventional consciousness. So in short, conventional consciousness has to be on board in order for us to do practice, study, contemplation, and so on, that can bring us into the sphere of awakened awareness. So, in the Buddhist teachings, and particularly in the Dzogchen teachings, awakened awareness, or Vajra heart essence, or the basic space of phenomena, is said to be the ground from which our conscious mind arises, in fact, from which all phenomena arises, including events that happen, objects in our world, all kinds of sentient beings, humans, animals, and so on, and the thoughts in our mind. All of that are phenomena which arise as the dynamic energy of awareness, the basic ground. But it's too much of a commotion for our conscious mind. We get caught up in it, and it's like thick clouds obscuring the sky, even though the sun is there, the sky is there, but there's such a thick cloud covering generated that we don't perceive it. And that's a sense in which awakened awareness, one sense in which awakened awareness is beyond ordinary consciousness. I may have used this experience in an earlier video clip. I can't remember actually, but in the early 1970s, I met this very intriguing old gentleman, cattleman in Colorado, spry cowboy in his 80s who'd grown up in South Dakota with the Sioux and then moved to Colorado and still kept in touch with the Sioux and did sweat lodge ceremonies and various other rituals with the Sioux. And he caught my interest in particular because I would visit him at his ranch, which was next door to the ranch where I worked in the foothills of the Rocky Mountains outside of Denver. And he could just sit placidly on the porch of his ranch house, gazing out at the prairie for very long periods of time and not saying anything. And I had the sense that, if I hadn't bugged him and asked questions, he might have gone on all day like that, with irrespective of another person being right next to him. He was very placid and content. So anyway, I observed this on a few occasions and finally got curious, and I asked him about it. And I asked him basically what he was doing what this gazing out was about. And he said that he was reading or listening to, I forget which, The Language of the Ripples, which is quite a poetic turn of phrase, The Language of the Ripples, which I'd never heard before. And so, of course, I drew him out on that point. And he said that it had been taught, or he'd picked it up from the Sioux, and that it could be learned, but it couldn't be taught. And I think one could say the same thing about awakened awareness. It can be learned, it can be experienced, but it can't be taught in the conventional sense of wrapped up in words or explained or satisfactorily described, even by a fully realized being, they say. Doesn't matter how thorough your immersion in awakened awareness is, it simply isn't describable in conventional terms to conventional consciousness. And yet, I have to assume that most, if not all, people who pursue developing this form of understanding must have some intuition about this. And one analogy for awakened awareness is that it's like transitioning from sleep and a dream that you're having, where the dream seems to have some reality, being chased by wild animals or something. And then you wake up and that reality pops, and it's immediately trumped by your everyday waking reality, less, presumably less dramatic than the dream, but far more real. And so one could say that the analogy is that awakened awareness is like that relative to ordinary consciousness. It's a it's an upgrade. It's an enhancement. It's a greater level, and that sometimes we have an intuition of it through our churning, cloudy consciousness, or maybe even somewhat extended experience of it, and it's self-verifying when it happens. One doesn't have any question about its validity, and one wants to understand it better. And then one is generally finds oneself back in conventional consciousness, scratching one's head. So, in any case, because our conventional consciousness is the administrator, as it were, of our daily affairs and operations, we conventional consciousness has to, as I mentioned before, be on board or be, let's say, be receptive to an exploration that could lead beyond that. Because if there's resistance or a really determined lack of receptivity on the part of conventional consciousness, uh, it's doubtful that we'll go any further um, in exploring awakened awareness. We'll just dismiss it. So some degree of receptivity uh, and using a conventional consciousness as at least an initial avenue of exploration is necessary. Now, one approach to engaging conventional consciousness in spiritual exploration of the sphere supposedly beyond conventional consciousness is to read, study, and contemplate teachings, verbal teachings, either in writing, in books, or in live transmission in talks. And, absorb those with conventional consciousness and consider them and see what happens as a result of that. And so this is what, in opening to utter totality, this is the purpose that Longchenpa's superb precious treasury teachings serve, is to sort of massage our conventional minds. And even if, like the language of the ripples, awakened awareness cannot be caught in that it cannot be satisfactorily captured in words or described in words. Words can loosen the conventional mind up to some degree to where openings may occur, let's put it that way. And then in those openings, there's a lived experience of meaning, or a felt experience of meaning, in the sense of deeper meaning rather than just meaning like a definition, like this such and such word means whatever its definition is. It's not that kind of conceptual meaning. It's a deeper lived meaning. And such as when one tastes sugar for oneself, no one has to explain the taste of sugar. When you have the taste in your mouth, you completely understand the taste of sugar, and you have no doubts about it being what it is and what you perceive. It's that way. So in some cases, in some even Buddhist lineages, traditions, awakened awareness, if it's described at all, is spoken of in an understated, very understated way, such as a Zen tradition with a lot of kind of basicness and ordinariness and everydayness. And in the Dzogchen tradition, as Longchenpa relays it, we're at the other end of that range of skillful means or ways of describing awakened awareness. The point where in its introduction, Longchenpa says, and this is his introduction to the precious treasury of the way of abiding, Longchenpa says, listen as I explain, according to my realization, the meaningfulness of that which transcends everything and is unlike anything else. Whoa. Okay, so uh, for myself, I'm intrigued by that, but I want to have a great deal of confidence in it before I can go forward and immerse myself in it. And fortunately, Longchenpa gives me that kind of confidence, radiates that kind of confidence, and therefore engages me and is a very strong source of the verbal teachings, written teachings, coming into conventional mind and potentially leading beyond consciousness to awakened awareness. Now, of course, along with contemplation of teachings in words, there's also the practices that these teachings point to, which by and large are done on the meditation cushion, or one could say can be done in everyday life with a certain orientation that is spawned or rooted in meditation practice, but which does not involve formal practice with a cushion and certain postures and so on and so on. So the last thing I think I'll say is that I appreciate about Longchenpa is that because Longchenpa is so convinced of the ultimate truth that our consciousness and all other phenomena radiate from the ground of awakened awareness, which is one way of stating the view of Dzogchen, or great perfection, or utter totality, depending on which translation you want to rely on, that because it's all pervasive, continuous, and generates all phenomena as its dynamic energy, therefore we can sort of turn that around, and beginning with our conscious mind engaging with everyday phenomena, including experience, sense impressions, inner phenomena like thoughts and emotions and so on, we can engage it, and through it intuit awakened awareness, which I say intuit rather than something like observe or whatever, which might be used in relation to an object regarded dualistically. Intuit because awakened awareness provocatively does not manifest as anything we would conventionally regard as an object that doesn't have any characteristics of an object. And so it's in that sense, it's quite confounding for our conventional mind, although worthwhile to grapple with. And sometimes I think that what a great teacher like Longchenpa is up to is simply wearing out our conventional mind, exercising it so vigorously and relentlessly that it gives way at some point, or at least cracks, and it allows some brighter light to come through. But anyway, I think that's where I'll leave it today. This finger painting sketch description of consciousness versus awareness. And if you're participating in the Opening to Utter Totality Zoom group, I hope this is helpful for you by way of background alongside the detailed and quite superb teachings of Longchenpa, which we'll be walking through at a measured pace in the group in the months ahead. So, with that, from White Pine Studios' scenic hilltop location in New Hampshire's Upper Valley, I will sign off the way I opened, with a closing good morning as well, and wish you good luck and great good fortune. Bye.